At 9:30 PM GMT, I will be streaming over on the Cthulhu-Kin and Friends show. As it is PMQs today, it will more than likely be the ridiculous presentation given by the Prime Minister, which she has charitably dubbed Plan B to Brexit, which is, if anything, Plan A, nothing more, pretty much. Link to the channel below. The subject of today's video comes from Highbury College. It's a bit of an odd one really, where they are currently going through a £1.4 million legal battle with the Nigerian government. And before anyone says it, did they give over their card details to someone who claimed to be a prince? Well, it's possible. You never know. The college has incurred the ire of a number of outlets because they have blocked access to certain news sites, FE Week being one of them. Now, whether or not you hold FE Week as a credible news source is entirely up to you. I, up to this point, had never heard of them, so you can understand why I am a bit meh about it. But the college has since admitted that they have blocked access to that site. One of the reasons given is because they have been reporting on the ongoing legal battle, which you'll find very little information reported by any other major news source, with a spokesperson for Highbury defending the decision, saying it is college policy to block access to inappropriate websites. She told FE Week, a site that has been blocked. It's not pornography here. She also continued to say, in view of this, we have blocked FE Week from the college's internet servers because we do not think students and staff while in college, missing a comma, should be distracted by inaccurate and untrue stories about Highbury, which may cause them concern or distress. We have a duty of care. Allow me to simplify my response to you, Highbury. While you are well within your right to decide what people can look at on your internet service, on your computers, using your internet, maybe on a mobile device. I don't know if that's exempt, I'm not too sure, but server-wise, yeah, okay. You are well within your right to stop people looking at it, but you are, based on how I see this, blocking someone's ability to look at information. If you're going to block FE Week because they reported on you in a negative light, would I be right to surmise you're going to block me for reporting on you being idiots? And I would also further that by pointing out if you're going to block people for wrongthink or for negative commentary, perhaps you should block anyone. Maybe you should just have the BBC because they're totally unbiased, right? Was that sarcastic enough? It would also be right to point out now that if you're going to block sites based on how you perceive them to portray the news as inaccurate, who is the person that's going to then decide or sift through all news sources and decide whether they are accurate or not? Because if you have an individual, let's say they hold either a left or right leaning position, they are just potentially, if they are fickle enough, going to block all sources that challenge their beliefs on the grounds that they do not agree, which is a tad pathetic, really, isn't it? Now, all of this actually sparked an intense discussion, which actually got the Skills Minister and Milton involved, where in regards to FE Week being blocked from the internal servers, she was quoted as saying, "That is terrible, absolutely shocking. In an organisation that is dealing with young people specifically, restricting access to staff or students or anybody is terrible. I am shocked. The press has to be very careful because they leave themselves open to challenge, so there are rules around ensuring the report is accurate. The DFE doesn't like what FE writes sometimes, but we do not block information." This even got Ofsted involved, with the Chief Inspector Amanda Spielman adding that the move was astonishing and concerning. You know you're goofed up when Ofsted are involved. Now, in the FE original article on this subject, they indicated that there were many minutes from the audit committee dating back as far as 2016, where it mentioned there was no progress with the Cross River State government, a coastal region in Nigeria, in being able to collect the 1.4 million still owed. They have received about 400,000 so far, but they still haven't received the other 1.4. Now this money was a part of a partnership where they built essentially a polytechnic, but Highbury has remained somewhat tight-lipped on this subject because they pulled out of the partnership following a change in political parties in Nigeria in 2015, and it isn't exactly clear how much the college spent, but I did, after perusing all the minutes available, 8 to be exact, find some passages that did support the CRSG having not paid back the amount of money owed to the college, which has sparked such an intense debate. The best instance that covers this comes from the Risk Management Monitoring section of the June 2018 minutes from the Audit Committee meeting, where it states, "The college accountant presented paper, blah blah, setting out a risk management monitoring. Members noted that the managing director technical professional had left the college since writing the report. The paper provided an update on the college's strategic risk reduction plan." Let's skip ahead a little. The committee discussed a number of the risks outlined in the report. The college accountant confirmed there had been no progress in the CRSG, the Coastal River State Government, debt of £1.4 million, and that the college had begun legal proceedings to recover the funds. He confirmed that work was underway to transfer the money in the college's Nigerian bank account. Maybe they are the prince. As the official and black market exchange rates were now aligned, there was a brief general discussion about the report itself, in particular its busy nature and the numbering system. The clerk stated that the new member of staff with responsibility for risk monitoring would attend the next meeting and would be better placed to answer questions concerning the format of the report, as well as details concerning the risks themselves. After reading this, I took the liberty of reading all the minutes from previous months that are available, linked below. This is the only time the CRSG is actually mentioned. This either means they were altered, or FE Week has somewhat lied a little, because I found no mention of CRSG, and considering the nature of news sources for embellishing on stories, I'll leave that for you to decide whether or not it is true or not. One thing I did notice on all the minutes was that funding has gone down as the years have gone by, money has gotten tighter, enrollment has been inconsistent, and that has in turn harmed the college's ability to improve. Of course, when you're owed 1.4 million, it's understandable that you start selling things off to make up the deficit because you invested in something and then pulled out. Maybe you should have just given the money to a Nigerian prince. Since FE Week was blocked from their servers, they published a new article indicating that the college has been hiding the principal's expenses and implying that it is possibly a criminal offence, and they have a valid point. You see, when FE Week requested the expense claims for the period covering 2014 to 2015 to 2017 to 2018 from the college 64 working days ago, well, Freedom of Information law states that responses should take no longer than 20 working days or 40 working days if the organisation needs to apply the public interest test. This is where the skirting of breaking the law comes into it, because a person who blocks any record with the intention of preventing disclosure of information commits a criminal offence. They are not listening to FE Week, with those that campaign for freedom of information pointing out that they can't think of how they can argue that disclosing the expense claims would lead to a risk to somebody's health and safety, and even if it would, the answer would be to delete the particular line in question or redact it. Continuing the somewhat quote as, "I can't see how the law enforcement exemption would apply, and the personal data is not a qualified exemption. If they are deliberately delaying the response as a reprisal for stories you have published that they do not like, then they are skirting with a possible criminal offence." This man Maurice Frankel also added, "A person who alters, defaces, blocks, erases, destroys, or conceals any record with the intention of preventing disclosure of information that the applicant would be entitled to commits a criminal offence under Section 77 of the Freedom of Information Act." I'll be honest, as I'm not entirely sure what FE Week's motivations are for wanting to know what the principal's expenses are. I have to sit on the fence on this one, but Highbury College not providing the information or at all communicating with FE Week when requests are made, official requests no less, is a damning statement, and sets a very bad precedent and shines a very poor light on the college. Colleges would want to encourage more people to go to them, surely. The last thing you need is for bad things to keep happening to you and for everyone to know it. In summary, as far as I'm concerned, the college shouldn't block the site because they don't like what the site has been saying about them. That is petty and childish. And if you're going to start policing what the students can and can't see, I think they're just going to use their phones more and use their own data on their phones. And yes, I only added that for the one person who would pick at that and say, yes, but they might use the wireless and be blocked. Use your own data. It's not rocket science. Anyway, I hope you all have a lovely Wednesday the 23rd of January, and thank you all for listening.